Most people with 50 pounds or more to lose never make it past level 1. They keep trying extreme diets, white knuckling through hunger, and wonder why it never works. I was stuck there too until I learned how to level up. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 levels of eating that helped me to lose 80 pounds, as well as a bunch of my clients get incredible results. If you have felt stuck for years, these levels might explain why. And if even one of these levels clicks for you, this could change the way you lose weight forever. Level 1, I'm going to call the biggest loser, and I don't mean that as an insult. Do you remember the biggest loser? Contestants often, almost always, lost over 100 pounds in just like 30 weeks. But just 5 years later, most contestants didn't just gain back what they lost, they gained back a little bit more. Even worse, their metabolism seemed to have been affected beyond just the weight gain. On average, they were burning 700 less calories than when before they started the show. That means now they have to eat far less than someone who's equal in size to them just to maintain their weight. Now, I think long term that actually will repair because it's more of like an adaptation thing. But still, this shows how extreme dieting isn't just bad for weight loss like short term, it's bad for weight loss long term. It makes it harder to lose weight in the long run. It's a powerful reminder that relying on willpower and restriction is not a sustainable way to lose weight. This is where most people start their weight loss journey, or at least at the beginning levels. They're stuck in this cycle of extreme dieting or hopping to different diets. They rely on willpower, gritting their teeth through every craving. By the way, if you want to save yourself months and just skip straight to level 3, I have a free 21-day fat loss plan. You can just download that right in the link in the description. Dieting in level 1 often means eating fewer and fewer calories, hoping that less food will lead to results, which it does, it just causes a bunch of problems as well. To speed things up, people in this level typically add on more and more cardio, making them even hungrier and ravenous and increasing the likelihood that they're going to gain that weight back. They also jump from one trendy diet to the next, never sticking with anything long enough to actually see results. One week they blame carbs, one week they blame fat, and it just never really stops. Protein at this level typically isn't even on a person's radar as something they really need to tackle. Meals are tiny and snacks are often skipped altogether. After dinner, the kitchen is closed because eating at night is bad, right? Sweets and bad food are banned entirely in a desperate attempt to actually stay on track with their diet. Calories are also saved all day in hopes that they'll resist temptation at night. When an event or party comes up, this person is oftentimes not ready for that. They just hope that they can power through it through sheer willpower and, determination. The problem is that this entire approach that I just described leads to burnout and a lack of motivation. Willpower is a limited resource. Studies have shown that, and once it runs out, the diet falls apart. Saving calories for later, we just need to accept that never works. Your body is too smart for that. A couple days ago, I asked my audience what diet they felt led to the best results for weight loss, and most of them said calorie restriction, not just a specific diet. So in general, just watching their food and making sure they're eating the right stuff, which is the right answer. Specific diets totally can work. You just have to make sure you actually love it. So if keto is something that you love, that is the best diet for you. It just can't feel super restrictive. Doing a ton of cardio, especially cardio that's a little bit more intense, will actually lead you to feeling more hungry and more likely to overeat later. And when you eat less and less, your body doesn't just lose fat, it also burns muscle, which slows down your metabolism, going back to that biggest loser thing. This process of dieting actually is so restrictive that oftentimes a person's sleep also starts to get affected, and that just snowballs into worse decision making later and harder decision making whenever they face temptation the next day and they're exhausted. And the recipes, just because the recipe is healthy doesn't mean it helps with weight loss. Often you end up more hungry than before. All of this, to be summarized, can feel like punishment and something that just is not sustainable. Tell me if you've been here before or if you're currently here. If you say that you're currently here, there is no shame in that. Now that you know, we can grow out of this. Level 2 is what I'm going to call your weight loss equation. This is where a lot of people end up, even if they don't really seek professional help from a personal trainer or someone who knows what they're doing. This is a lot of times where a person grows into with time. Let's say you burn 300 calories from walking more, but eat 350 calories because your appetite goes up. Without tracking, you think you're in a deficit, but you're actually going to be gaining weight in that case. If we did the math on that, you'd be gaining a pound almost every 3 months, which may not sound like a lot, but that's with daily cardio. It's no wonder that some people feel stuck. Now, before we fix that, let's get into more what this level actually looks like. At this level, you finally start shifting your focus over to something that actually works, which is eating more protein. You begin strength training and your body starts building some muscle. That new muscle actually boosts your metabolism and helps you burn more fat at rest. But a lot of times people at this level actually still want faster results, and so they'll cut their calories a little too early in the process. You move more through walking and daily steps, which is smarter, more sustainable choice than endless cardio. But here's the big problem. Even with these improvements, people aren't actually tracking anything, at least not consistently. When they eat less, they often move less without realizing it, and it cancels out the calorie deficit. When they increase their steps, they often unconsciously eat more, undoing the entire process. In cardio without tracking calories can also cause a rebound in eating and increase fatigue. But people in this level are oftentimes experimenting with meals that are higher in volume and keep them fuller longer. They might not do this on a regular basis, but they're doing it more often, which is a game changer. That is a very important step. They begin allowing occasional treats without letting the guilt get to them, which stops the binge restrict cycle that starts whenever they, feel guilty. But events and special occasions still throw them off. They might end up saving calories and end up, crashing and overdoing it all at the event. Even with all those challenges, this level does come with even more big wins. The cooking skill has often improved. They start choosing meals that aren't just healthy, but also actually support fat loss, things that take up volume, things that focus on protein and fiber, fruits and vegetables, and have recipes that actually taste good. By the way, my 21-day fat loss plan actually comes with my cookbook. It's delicious, high protein recipes that you're gonna love. My favorite is the cheesy Mexican protein rice right now, and I keep saying that every video, but it still is my favorite. I think a person in this level also becomes more self-aware, learning which foods they have trouble controlling. I don't think there's anything wrong with realizing that I struggle around this food, and so I'm not gonna have it in my house, or I'm gonna control my environment. For me, that is peanut butter. If you're a watcher of this channel, you know that I struggle with peanut butter, and I actually have a lockbox that my wife knows the combination to. Put the peanut butter in there and I don't have a problem. The lockbox is just this like plastic thing off of Amazon. It's like 20 bucks. So you can look, I think I looked up pantry lockbox on there, but that helps me control. Peanut butter is the only thing, like I really don't struggle with much anything else. There's goldfish or whatever in there for my daughter. She's 3 and she just, eats those things. Just to get her to eat something is a victory. And so, I don't struggle around chips or anything like that. It's peanut butter. But around this areas where progress starts to fall off if adjustments aren't made. So a couple of things that are wrong in this phase, and we're just, still describing this level. Most people aren't training hard enough yet. Their workouts are too easy to make a major difference after that beginning initial phase of muscle gain. Eventually, and about now in this level, you'll want to start pushing yourself close to failure, 1 to 3 reps shy of failure to maximize muscle growth. What that looks like, if I'm like, acting like I'm doing a bench press here, is rep 1 could look like that, and then 2, and then whenever you get to rep 12, 13, 14, wherever, your rep range is, it starts to be a grind and that bar speed really slows down. If the rep takes about double as long as it used to at the beginning, you're getting somewhere close to failure, and that's good enough. You could really stop right there. It also doesn't hurt, by the way, to actually take 1 set to true failure, meaning you try to lift it and your muscles fail you. Probably not on a bench press because you're stuck under the bar. But it could be a machine bench press, and you could feel out how that was. And worst thing is that you try to lift it up and you realize you can't and you have to come back down. It is extremely uncomfortable. You start to, in a weird way, let me know if this is you. You start to, in a weird way, enjoy it. I know it sounds kind of psychotic, but I have to prevent myself from taking every single set to failure. I just love it. And that's not good either, to take every single set to failure. So I don't know. Let me know if you relate to that in the comments. I mentioned how a person in this level might start cutting calories a little too early. That is something that really could backfire. That's the last lever that you want to pull. I think you really want to maximize your movement and your cardio, your diet, before like the quality of your diet, protein, things like that, before you start cutting calories. I find with my clients that if we cut calories too fast, we're just kind of stuck and we have nowhere else to go. And they're already kind of in that suffering, stage. And then we add some calories back and it kind of makes them go backwards on the scale. And they hate that. So that's the last lever that I like to pull, is like to really squeak down the calories. First, you're trying to gain as much muscle as possible, move as much as possible. Plus, it's good for your heart and everything. It's going to help you live longer. So there's really no downside to this. There is the downside of time commitment. So sometimes you max out on your cardio or your steps because you just simply don't have enough time in the day to get 12,000 or 14,000 steps. So you have to settle for 9,000 or whatever it is. The biggest issue in this level is that people aren't consistently tracking. And I want to give you, I'm going to talk about tracking here, but I want to give you some, I don't know, motivation. Like, I'm not saying you have to religiously track everything for all time, okay? It could be a 1 year, let's get it, let's lose all this weight. It's so much easier to maintain weight loss whenever you have built the habits to get there, not just white knuckle through it. But if you've built the habits to get there, it's very easy to maintain weight loss, maintain your muscle, compared to, trying to actually lose it. And so I want to encourage you that if it's a year of tracking, what is a year of tracking when you have your whole life in front of you? Tracking calories, tracking calories, steps. I'm going to talk about that. But this is a big deal. And if it's a big deal to you, I think you should at least consider tracking calories. Now, you don't have to track. You could do, I really think it is the golden ticket. But you could do, at least with the diet side of things, you could restrict on time. You could do intermittent fasting. If that works for you, great. Go ahead and do it. You could also do keto or carnivore if that's something that you really love. Whatever feels least restrictive. But most people on my poll that I put out the other day, and I know this from years of training as well, my clients, they prefer being able to eat whatever they want, meaning like my cheesy Mexican protein rice or, some lasagna or whatever, as long as they can track it. They can go out to eat as long as you track it. There is no restrictions. It feels less restrictive because as long as you track it, you're within your goal. A big deal with tracking, let's say you're tracking your calories and you reduce your calories. If you're tracking your steps, you know that you're not accidentally moving less in response to that. That oftentimes what happens is a person will eat less and then they move way less, breaking them even. Then they say, oh, reducing calories doesn't work. Yes, it does. It works 100% of the time. And I want to give you encouragement in that. This works 100% of the time. But we have to track the steps to make sure that our calorie reduction doesn't cost us on our steps. If you increase your steps, you want to be tracking calories and protein to make sure that you're not throwing yourself off in that regard, accidentally eating more or eating things that are more sugary and higher in carbs. Carbs aren't the enemy, they're not bad. I'm just saying that if a higher percentage of your diet comes from carbs because you're facing more temptations due to the increased movement, we need to know that. The take home here is that without tracking, it's easy to undo your own progress without knowing it. And I really think that should be an encouragement to you. It's not that this doesn't work or you're broken or your body doesn't work. It's that without tracking, we accidentally, it's not your fault. I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying that you're, dumb or anything. I'm just saying we all are prone to accidentally be wrong or to maybe subconsciously lie to ourselves a little bit. All right, level 3, this is the sweet spot. This is where everyone needs to progress to, in my opinion, to have long-term and permanent success. And this is becoming a drag racer. The analogy that I came up with here is that level 3 is like switching from a bike on a rocky trail to racing on a smooth track. Smooth and effortless. Have you ever seen, though, I've only seen like documentaries and stuff, so pardon me if I'm a little bit off, but the tires on a drag racer drag car, I don't know what to call them, are smooth. I don't think they have any tread. And the track, if I remember right, it looks like glass. Maybe there's something sticky on it I'm not sure. But everything looks really smooth. And I've heard, to be wrong, that is to reduce friction, to allow that car to go as fast as possible. And that's a great analogy for what we're doing here. This level is going to help you to go as fast and as smoothly as possible. I shouldn't say as fast, as effortless as possible. And that's probably a good comeback to the drag car analogy. It's as effortless as possible, the least amount of friction we can get. If what I'm about to describe seems too good to be true, I want you to find hope in me telling you, you can get here. I have done this with literally hundreds of people. You're not a unique snowflake, okay? You are just like them. People come to me broken, just like me, okay? I have been there. I know what it's like. And I promise you're not so broken that that this system won't work for you. You're not different than them. I have helped too many people and none of them I've been like, man, this one I just can't solve. In this level, everything is being tracked. Calories, protein, steps, all of it. And don't worry, it gets so much easier. I personally spend maybe 5-10 minutes tops a day logging my food because I have recipes built into my Fitness Pal. I use my recipe book, which you can just totally use, and it like literally, if it says 335 grams, you just put it on a food scale, scoop it out till it says minus 335, and boom, it's easy. Once you eat so many foods, believe it or not, you probably only eat like 100 foods in your diet. I would love someone to keep track of a list and see if they can break 100. I've always said 100 just for fun. I don't know what the number actually is. I bet it's less than 100. But most of us eat this circle of foods that are 100 foods, and we never venture outside of that circle, at least not very often, maybe with restaurants and stuff. So after you've logged, let's say saltine crackers, let's say you eat saltine crackers, all you have to do in MyFitnessPal, SAL, and the saltine crackers are going to pop up. Your 5 crackers, your normal, serving, whatever it is, it's already going to be there. You just click the little check mark icon and boom, it's logged. It gets so much faster. I want to encourage you with that. Daily movement in this phase is no longer left to chance. It's a target that you aim and you hit. Your workouts are structured and consistent in this level, combining strength training and cardio. Both are so essential. You're eating enough food and enough protein to support your goals. You're not starving yourself for results, and that is key. That is the defining characteristic of a person that has matured in their weight loss venture and they're in level 3. This is exactly what my 21-day fat loss plan is built to help you implement. Big volume meals and all this stuff is included. The plan, it's all included. Your nutrition in this phase is dialed in. I have a couple notes here. So you aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. You get 60 to 80 grams of fat if you're a man and 50 to 60 grams if you're a woman. You could do a little bit more there. I totally sacrifice on the carbs myself. I probably get 90 grams of fat a day, 80 grams of fat a day. I easily get 1 point something grams per pound of body weight of protein, and then the rest are carbs. My carbs will usually be like 170. My protein something close to 220. And I weigh close to 200 pounds, so I'm definitely getting more than 1 gram per pound of body weight. So you can sacrifice on carbs if you like more fat, but you also could take those carbs. Remember, carbs are not the enemy. They fuel your workouts. And I'm telling you, if you've been chronically low on carbs, you can learn to use fat as a fuel source. That does seem to be evident in the literature. So if you're keto, don't worry about this. But if you aren't used to doing keto or you don't like it, you're going to feel a little bit sluggish. And you'll notice that, especially as a man with a little bit more muscle mass, that as you're lifting, your muscles will feel more pumped. They'll feel bigger. They'll feel stronger. Your lifts will go up by eating more carbs. So don't be afraid of carbs. It'll allow the workouts to be harder. And the harder you work out, the more muscle you're going to build. Not like indefinitely, of course, like 1 to 3 reps shy of failure, but still, if you're able to consistently work out that hard, you're going to build more muscle, your metabolism is going to be higher, and you're going to burn more fat just literally while you're sitting there. A person at this level is confident in the kitchen. That doesn't mean you're making gourmet meals. My cookbook does not have gourmet meals in it. I am certainly far from a chef. But you have your go-to things that you like. You're pretty good at making them. You're pretty fast at making them. It's not a burden on your brain anymore to go get the stuff from the grocery store and to make this meal, because you've done it so many times and you have your rotation of like 10 meals. A person this level also is going to have snacks on hand that satisfy cravings. Snacks are not bad. Delicious snacks are not bad. I need to start adding more snacks. I have a few of them in the cookbook, but I need to start adding more snacks. Most of my cookbook recipes are high, like a lot of meals are made. Why am I meal prep? They're meal prep size, recipes. It'll make 9 or 10 meals for the week. But either way, snacks are going to really help. That could just be a protein bar. It also could be something like a beef stick or something like that, a beef jerky, stuff like that. A person this level enjoys treats. They're tracked and they're not off plan. In fact, they're a part of the plan, but they enjoy treats. And that could be something straight up bad. That could be, I'm craving some pizza, and so today I'm going to have 2 slices of Papa John's or whatever. And that's definitely going to make your weight spike, but don't worry about it. It's just water weight. Here's an underrated skill in this level. This is something that I feel like I recently have actually developed for myself, which is what has kind of unlocked that next level for me. I think this is what fits me into that level 3 now, is you don't panic if your calories are higher for a day or two. You know it won't derail anything. If you have to increase your calories just for a day, let's say it's an extra hard day, or you have Easter that day, or whatever it is, dinner with family, you're already in a calorie deficit. So if you go above your calories by 500 for the day, you're probably still in a little bit of a calorie deficit. But even if you're not, you break it even for one day, who cares? Another staple of this level is that you're increasing your cardio intensity as your fitness improves, burning more in the same amount of time. So as a person, let's say you go for a walk early on and you're very overweight and it's hard. You're burning 100 calories on a walk, hypothetically, just for easy math. As you lose weight and as you get more fit, that same walk, if done at the exact same intensity, will probably burn something like 80 calories. But you're able to walk fast enough, or put a backpack on, rucking, add weight to your back, or walk longer to the point where you're able to burn, in that same amount of time, you're able to burn 120 calories. So if you use your improved fitness, hope this makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't in the comments and I'll try to explain it a different way. If you use your improved fitness, you will actually burn more calories in that same amount of time. And if you add time, then you're really burning more calories. And if instead of 30 minutes, you walk for an hour now because you're capable of that, now, instead of burning 100 calories, you're burning maybe 180 calories. Per unit of time, are you burning less? Yes, you are. Your body adapts. But I wouldn't be scared of that. That just means you're healthier. It just means you're better. Yes, it requires a little bit more work in order to burn more calories, but you have a superpower of being able to burn a lot of calories now. You're now balancing cardio and steps with intention. Sometimes a lot of steps, other days, it's steps mixed with cardio. A person in this level typically avoids a lot of high intensity cardio because it drives hunger and promotes burnout and injury. Your biggest strength now in this level is patience. You trust the process deeply. You know it's going to work because your plan is perfect. You're no longer desperate for fast results because you know it's working. If you just stick with it, you're going to get there. A person in this level also celebrates the small wins, like losing half a pound that week. You're not going to lose the same amount of weight every single week. Not every single week is the exact same with what we eat and what we do. But any amount of progress is getting you closer to your goal. And in fact, those weeks where progress is slow, I like to think of them as a recouping week where it's empowering me to keep going, because the faster you go, the less likely you're going to be able to keep going. But if you have a slow week or a break-even week here or there, a vacation week, something like that, I like to think of that as a pit stop to allow me to do another lap. A person in this level, when it comes to events, will never save calories anymore. They will always have some sort of protein bar right before the event. They'll eat a normal breakfast. They'll have normal snacks. And yes, they go into the event with only 600, 700 calories and most likely are going to overeat on that. But remember what I said earlier, It's okay to overdo it on that day. It's just one day. And what if that one day, what if we're in the holidays and that day turns into 4, 5, or 6? Who cares? You still have 51 other weeks to make progress. It doesn't matter. Just move on. A person in this level has no more shame, no more spirals, just consistent, confident progress. Now that you know what level 3 looks like and how to get there, on your way to that level and beyond achieving your goal, you need to know how to not quit. I talk about that right here, not quitting your progress. Go ahead and watch that video. I'll see you in the next one.